Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Walt here from Down the Block Sports, and today I want to talk about the NBA. The James Harden is officially playing for the Philadelphia 76ers, has played 2 games for them, and in his second game put up a triple-double against the New York Knicks. What I want to talk about is how Harden's looked in these 2 games and what to look forward with the Philadelphia 76ers. Joining me to talk about James Harden and more is my friend Kyle Russo from Review and Preview Sports. Kyle, welcome back to the Alec Walt Show.
Alec, thank you for having me on, man. As always appreciate it and look forward to talking some more NBA basketball with you.
Yeah, Kyle, James Harden's been excellent with the Philadelphia 76ers. I mean, we expected it. James Harden's one of the best players in the NBA paired with Joel Embiid. And in his first 2 games, it started on Friday against the Minnesota Timberwolves. He had 27 points, 12 assists, and 8 rebounds. And today against the New York Knicks, 29 points, 16 assists, and 10 rebounds. Kyle, it's basically a perfect start here for James Harden with the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah, can't forget about those 5 steals as well in today's game. Almost a
Yeah.
quadruple double. Just uh, Alec, like you alluded to, what else do we really expect, right? When he made the transition over, we saw how he got himself out of Houston just a year ago into Brooklyn, and for a long time, between the months of February, March, and April, people were saying that James Harden was the MVP of the league. And that's because of how well he played with the Brooklyn Nets. And you got to remember what happened during that stint there is that the responsibility of the game in terms of Brooklyn winning was on the shoulders of him. Kyrie was missing a lot of games. KD was missing a lot of games. People were arguing that he was the most important piece in terms of them winning. Like KD was the body, the face of the franchise. Kyrie was the skilled, crafty point guard, but the heart of that team came from James Harden. And if he played well, that was going to get them over the hump. Now you look at this transition to Philadelphia and you say to yourself, well, you know you have Joel Embiid there, who's probably, if not going to win the MVP, he's going to finish top 3. I think that's set in stone. I don't think anything is going to change that, barring any injury, which knock on wood does not happen. Now you mix him in with a young guard as well, and Tyrese Maxey, who is also fantastic in just his second year, I believe, in the NBA. Later first round pick in last year's draft. Tremendous player, tremendous player. Now you got him and James Harden in the backcourt. Then you got Matisse Thybulle running the defense. Then you got Tobias Harris, who didn't have a great game today, but is a 20-point per game scorer. That starting 5 with James Harden there just takes them to all whole nother levels in which they were just 2 weeks ago without James Harden competing on the floor for them.
Yeah, I mean, you look at all of what Harden needs to complement him. He has secondary scoring with
Mm-hmm.
Tyrese Maxey. He has defense with Matisse Thybulle, and we all know Harden's not the best defender. We also get a versatile defender who can score in Tobias Harris, and arguably the best overall big man in today's NBA. I mean, the Philadelphia 76ers, yes, they're not nearly as deep as they were before the trade, losing an Andre Drummond and a Seth Curry and other pieces like that in the deal who were actually playing for the Sixers this year. Before, I know Simmons wasn't there. It's another piece to the deal there, but it looks like Philly has all of those pieces complementing right now. Now, if the Sixers are going to win, they need Harden and Embiid playing together perfectly. I know the sample size is small, and most of Embiid's points today came at the foul line. The Knicks just felt the need to send him to the line 27 times to take those shots. But I mean, talk about how these two complement each other and how they can get the best version of each other if they're going to continue playing well here with the Sixers this season.
They complement each other greatly. It's kind of almost like a Shaq and Kobe kind of duo. I don't want to put the status quo of that to it
Guard
yet.
center,
Obviously, you don't have the resume yet to be called that, but kind of in the sense of you looked at Joel Embiid, right? Joel Embiid, last couple years, he's been top 3 center in the NBA, if not number 1 overall, just in terms of all around versatility between defense, which is Jokic won the MVP last year, but he doesn't have the defensive skills that an Embiid has, and they both kind of range around the same offensive skills that they both range around. So Joel Embiid, interchangeable number 1 center in the NBA right now. Then you add the guard that Joel Embiid has been missing throughout the entirety of his career. Since the days an argument of whose team is it, Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid. And once Philadelphia figured out that it wasn't going to work with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid was going to be the face of this franchise, you saw they were missing that secondary piece. Now having a James Harden, who part of the reason why I don't think it worked out in Brooklyn is because he wanted to play ISO ball. And you can't play ISO ball with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant on your
Yeah, no
team.
way.
You can't do that. Well,
Mm-mm.
you could do that in Philadelphia. You could take some of the pressure off your big man because Joel Embiid, prior to James Harden's acquisition, He was playing every single position. He was running the floor. He was the floor general. He was the main passer. He was the main scorer, main rebounder, everything. Main defensive key piece, blocking the ball, everything. Hey, if Joel Embiid did not perform, bottom line is that the Philadelphia 76ers were not only not going to be able to compete, they weren't going to be able to win basketball games if he doesn't put up the numbers that he's putting up this season. Now you have James Harden, who, again, is an electric guard in year now 12 or 13, I believe, at Arizona State. One of the greatest shooters that we've ever seen. And again, do we like the way in which he moved himself to Philadelphia? Maybe not. But you know what? He worked himself in a position that he knows he's going to have success in. And so far, again, very minimal sample size. And again, against two teams which are not that great. The Minnesota Timberwolves may be a better team, but the New York Knicks, as we see, the wheels have kind of fallen off the wagon on this season very, very quickly, especially in which we see in this fourth quarter here today. They were, I believe, tied going into the fourth quarter, and then they get outscored 31-20, I believe, in the fourth, and just completely lose traction in this game. But James Harden, we see he's able to play his skill set type of game. He's able to shoot the three ball comfortably. He's now able to have other options to pass the ball out to. I mean, the pick and roll game between Joel Embiid and James Harden is elite. It is something special to watch.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you're going to see that that's going to be key moving forward. And on top of the fact, you're going to see him get to the line comfortably and shoot the ball comfortably. Again, in this game, part of his 29 points, I believe he finished off with, 10 of those points came from the free throw line, shot perfectly, 100%, 10 of 10 from the free throw line. That's James Harden's game. Passing, shooting the ball free throw wise at an elite level, playing ISO, and having other, for the first time in his career, maybe outside of the Brooklyn Nets, obviously, this might be the most well-roundabout team defensively and offensively that he's had to work with.
Yeah. No, I don't think you're wrong. I mean, I think this team complements him very well. If him and Embiid can stay healthy, they're definitely going to be one of the top teams here in the Eastern Conference. One good thing about the schedule coming up here in early March is we get to see the 76ers against some of the other top teams in the Eastern Conference. Yes, I understand not everyone is fully healthy right now, but they're trying to figure out each other for the next couple months to build the perfect chemistry to compete for a championship. Well, early on, I mean, yes, they've won 2 consecutive games and have a game coming up against New York on Wednesday, but starting Friday, it's versus Cleveland, at Miami, versus Chicago, versus Brooklyn. I mentioned the health thing before because Chicago and Brooklyn don't have their full lineups right now. But Kyle, talk about this team and what you've seen through Harden's first 2 games and how they match up against 4 teams. They could potentially see one of these teams in the first round of the playoffs if they, depending on what the seeding is.
I think that you're going to see it's going to be a true testament to how good this team potentially is, and obviously, just in again, even by the point of when they play these games, right, Alec? It's only going to be what five games, 3, 4, 5, 6 games into the era of James Harden and Joel Embiid. So you're not going to know exactly what you're going to get, but like against Cleveland, right? You're going to see probably one of the best front courts in all of basketball between Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. So you're going to see Joel Embiid. They're probably going to have a trap game for him. Can they pass out to other options like a James Harden? Can they facilitate an offense that'll work around a James Harden, Tyrese Maxey heavy game? We'll see. Not to say that Joel Embiid won't be dominant. I think he still will be. But you're going to see more passing out from him in the paint. I think so. That's going to be the case. Now you look at a Miami team as well. And you know me, I'm a big Miami Heat fan. I think defensively they are one of the best teams, if not the best teams in all of basketball. I fear the Philadelphia 76ers because I don't think that there's really any team necessarily in the NBA, especially in the Eastern Conference, that has a solid answer for Joel Embiid. And I love Bam Adebayo, but he's an undersized center at 6'9". Joel Embiid stands 7 feet tall. He's got massive amount of weight on him. And he has the versatility to shoot outside the perimeter with the James Harden, who, again, love a Jimmy Butler, love a Tyler Hero. But the guard, level in which James Harden plays at is like no other. There's very few players of his skill set. Maybe outside of, in terms of guard potential, maybe you're looking at a Steph Curry, and you're looking at a Kyrie Irving, and that's maybe about it in terms of guard level of that talent. So that's a scary matchup. You go to Brooklyn as well. Now there's word that Ben Simmons is going through some back issues right now, so he may not even play in this game. Kyrie Irving, I don't remember. Is this game at home or is this away? Because Kyrie Irving, if it's at home, he's not even going to be able to play. And Kevin
This
Durant.
game is in Philly.
This game is in Philly, so he will be able to play. But who knows if Kevin Durant will even be back? So that's not a full-level Brooklyn team to really be fearful of. And then Chicago, along with that as well. Nikola Vucevic is a nice center. Again, not a match for Joel Embiid. I don't think that anybody can match up against him nicely. And DeMar DeRozan, I think that may kind of be sort of like a tandem to watch out for because DeMar DeRozan himself, with the exception of last night or even with last night, I think he's on a 9-30 plus a 9-game streak of 30 plus points scored. he's playing like an MVP candidate,
Yeah.
probably right there with Joel Embiid. It's a race between the two of them, I think, at this point in time. And they're not healthy either. They don't have Alonzo, they don't have a Caruso, Zach Levine. They have there who's a great all-star level caliber talent, but they're not at full strength either. So I don't know how much you're going to see uh, in terms of this regular season, in terms of what you're going to see come playoff time, because playoff time is when all these teams are going to be healthy.
Yeah.
Right now, they're not going to be. And again, into the mix of a 5-game, 6-game era of James Harden and Joel Embiid, are we truly going to see the magic behind it? Who knows?
Well, in what you watched from this game today, is there anything else that stood out to you and what you think this Philadelphia 76ers team can do?
It's in terms of positivity, what I've watched, because again, I don't get to watch as many games as somebody who lives in the Philadelphia area does, is the level in which Tyrese Maxey is playing at in just year two is right there on the verge of being elite. Like, this is on the verge of being one of the best backcourts in basketball. When you talk about some of the best backcourts in basketball, you immediately think of a Klay Thompson, a Steph Curry, you think of a Chris Paul, and you think of a Devin Booker. And again, this is very, very small sample size, but in the Eastern Conference, at least, this has that potential to be that. And it's going to be that way for a very long time, I would think so. Because Maxi, you see, that was a guy they did not want to give up in a Harden trade. So they want him around for the long term future. And Harden as well, picking up a player option, he's going to want to be there for probably the latter part of his career, as he's standing at an age of 33 years old right now. He's probably going to be there for the latter part of his career as well. So to see this the next couple years, that's going to be elite, combined with the fact center play, having one of the top 3, 4, 5 backcourts in all of basketball, combined with the best, most versatile center in the game. And Doc Rivers, who, yes, has having some great teams before and has not been able to cash in, is, as we just saw in the NBA 75, was ranked one of the top 14 coaches of all time in NBA history. So they have a lot going for them right now. I think the only knock against them, Alec, is something that you brought up earlier, is that they just don't have the depth right now. They don't have the depth. I don't know what their draft picks look like. I know they gave up their draft pick this year in that trade with James Harden, their first round pick, but their depth is just not there right now. What they have in the starting five is one of the scariest starting fives in basketball, hands down. After that, the bench is really shaky. Especially you're looking at these past couple games and you're looking at throughout the season, you're not getting double digit point figures out of any of these guys. Maybe a Korkmaz, maybe a Millsap, maybe a Milton every once in a blue moon, but on a consistent level, you're not getting that significant bench player because of how deep and stacked your starting lineup is. And that's the price you pay when you get a player of James
Yeah.
Harden's caliber. But again, we'll see. If they win a championship, it'll all be worth it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think Philadelphia should be active in the buyout market. If anyone does end up becoming a free agent, I don't see any reason why they wouldn't want to sign with the Philadelphia 76ers. They're a contending team with star players and opportunity for minutes. I mean, I feel like they check off all three of those boxes
Yeah.
for anyone who could potentially be on the market again, but you're not wrong. You look at their bench: Millsap, Green, Niang, Milton, Korkmaz. Those were the five that got minutes. Doc does like to play, full bench lineups, and they
Mm.
really don't have much behind Embiid.
Do they even have a center right now? I know they signed
It's
Willie
Willie
Cauley.
Cauley sign.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
he
just
hasn't
signed him
played
to a
yet.
10-day, but he's not gonna,
Yeah.
we'll see if he lasts throughout the entirety of the season. But Drummond, I think that's going to be a huge factor in which, again, part of trading for a James Harden caliber player, you have to give up some pieces. I think that's going to heavily be missed.
So, Kyle, before I let you go, man, how can our listeners here listen to your podcasts and follow you on social media?
So to follow me on social media at Kyle Russo 612 on Instagram, that's really my own. That's really my only main social media source in which I use. And then, as Alec alluded to in the intro, at Review and Preview Sports every Tuesday night on Facebook Live from 7 to 9 p.m., in which we cover all sports, basically the core four: basketball, baseball, football, and hockey. We're starting to get a little bit more into hockey now and a little bit more into basketball as the football season is behind us.
I'm
But
actually joining on Tuesday.
Oh, my mistake, actually. I made a mistake. We used to be on Tuesday. We're now moved to Wednesdays. Keep on getting it mixed up.
Oh,
We're on
okay. Well,
Wednesday nights from 7 to 9. Excuse me, retract that statement. Wednesday nights from 7 to 9, where we talk about all four major core four sports. And that's where you can find me. If you like what I've said, you like what you've heard, make sure to give me a follow and make sure to tune into Review and Preview Sports on Facebook Live at Review and Preview. And so make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well at Review and Preview Sports to watch all of our great content that not only comes out of my mouth, but from the rest of the crew as well.
Yeah, do it. They got great content. I'm going to be there Tuesday. Paul and Barty and I are going to be talking some Celtics basketball in the final half hour. So if you want to check that out, feel free to. Again, Wednesday night, that's where you can hear Kyle and the gang from Review and Preview Sports. I try and check you guys out at least a little bit during your show every week. So you guys do a great job. You keep me coming back every single week. So keep up the great work, and we'll keep talking basketball here on Down the Block Sports. That's going to be it for this episode of The Alec Walt Show. I'm Alec Walt alongside Kyle Russo. What do you think of the Philadelphia 76ers? James Harden through his first 2 games, nearly perfect. He's been outstanding. Feel free to give me your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more of my exclusive content. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and we will see you very soon.